looks quite. So the first question is, if Japan is slowing down the dependency on China in the strategic areas, communities.
I think the Japanese government primarily, plans to and prepare already prepares to reduce some kind of dependency on China, especially in the very advanced technologies and strategically important section, right? So that's why we a kind of decoupling. For example, semiconductor production, and Japan totally agreed with the United States to ban to export the production equipment of the semiconductor to China. Same as well, the Netherlands decided, right? So in this sense, the very, very narrow strategic section, Japan actually reduces some kind of dependency or some interdependency with China. But on the other hand, for example, the automobile industries and other more consumer goods, it does not matter. The Japanese government does not want to regulate these kind of the more commodity or more consumer goods. So in a sense, Japanese automobile companies or Japanese industries are prefers to cooperate with and their activity in Chinese market, right? So in a sense, we need to think divided, and we need to think individually in the strategic section and more consumer section. So in the sense, always I think that the Japanese-Chinese economic relation is one of the quite important bilateral relations. And always, while, for example, 2010 of some kind of the maritime crash between Japan and China around the Senkaku Isles, actually the Japanese Coast Guard ship detained the Chinese fishing boat. And during this period, the Japanese and Chinese political relation is quite tension dies. But even during this period, the economic relations between Japan and China has been keeping that. So in this sense, this kind of the economic dynamism and the economic interdependency is quite important to keep the actual and pragmatic relations between China and Japan. So and Japanese government also recognized the importance of this section. So that's why we need to think about divide the strategic important section and the consumer section.
Okay. So and the third question is about the Japanese community in China. If they are good, or if there is some tensions, or if they are living sometimes.
As far as I know, the past 5 years, the total number of Japanese residents in China records around 120,000. But now that total number of the Japanese residents in China has been reducing, and from 120 to 100,000. Okay? So that's why a little bit decrease. But basically, the Japanese residents in China consists of the Japanese, workers of the Japanese companies and their families, right? So that's why it depends on the company's strategy, company's plan. And now many Japanese companies start relocating their factory from China to other places in ASEAN, so-called the China +1, right? So in a sense, it is quite natural to reduce the number of the Japanese residents in China, but it depends on this kind of each individual Japanese company's strategy. They relocated the factory from China to Vietnam, to Philippines, to Thailand, and so on. So in a sense, it is not so strongly influenced by some kind of tension between Japan and China. But on the other hand, it is possible to say that in some extent, China started detaining Japanese residents in China for spy reasons. So in a sense, it is now lies a quite serious worry among the Japanese residents in China. So it is quite seriously impact, and so many Japanese companies already decide to reduce their Japanese workers in China, or even they deploy only their workers without family members. right? So that's why it is very easy to imagine and predict that total number of Japanese residents in China will be reduced and more in the future. But on the other hand, as far as I know, almost 700,000 Chinese origin residents in Japan. Right? So in a sense, these kind of imbalance, and they prefer to get Japanese nationality in some extent. But on the other hand, they totally, declare the loyalty to Chinese Communist government, but they have the Japanese nationality. It makes a kind of very complicated situation, and they, are totally controlled by the national mobilization law of China. So that's why if something happened in Japanese society, there will be the engage some anti-Japanese government operation or something like that. So in the sense, now some Japanese politicians already start, to talk about some kind of the possibility and how to prevent this kind of the confusion.
And do you have some already some approach, or it's like burning now? Now it's like we are starting discussion about this. You don't have any. It's not ready.
No, not ready, because it is quite need reciprocally, right? And also, so many Chinese origin residents in Japan. Also, they are very, some of them are very pro-Japanese. Some of them are pro-Chinese. So that's why it is so difficult to divine just very white and black, right? So in a sense, I think that the Japanese government, especially Japanese politicians, they don't want to touch these kind of the issues.
It's very complicated.
Yeah, it's
human issue.
Totally complicated.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's if you have something what is important in this situation, what you want to discuss. So please, maybe now it's up to you. If you want to mention some topic, maybe the cooperation or the relationship between Japan and Czech Republic in the international content.
Yeah. Frankly speaking, I have been here in the Czech Republic almost for 21 years. Yeah, and I witnessed the change and shift of the bilateral relation between Japan and Czech Republic, right? And not just depend on the cultural exchange or economic exchange, but in recent years the bilateral relations has increasing the more security dimension cooperation, the security dimension of the connection between Japan and the Czech Republic. And I think it is quite positive for Japanese side. So that is why I would like to express that, the last December, Japanese government adopted the new security strategy and defense strategy. And within the defense strategy of Japan, for the first time, the name of the Czech Republic are mentioned in the Japanese official document as a like-minded country, right? So in this sense, I think that the cooperation between Czech Republic and Japan, not only culture or economic sphere, but also the security sphere, should be increased and should be strengthened. Thank you.
Like in the case of the Indo-Pacific issue also.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter the Indo-Pacific or not, but bilateral cooperation or dimension of the bilateral cooperation, it is very healthy. Not only just depends on the culture, but political issues.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Microphone back.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.